Thank you very much. My presentation will be very short, I think, since we are just at the beginning. And I'm not sure we had all the experiences we have shown from the first day today. And yes, on behalf of Vétérinaires Sans Frontières International, I am Abdoulaye Diaoure from VSF Switzerland. And we have undertaken 2 studies, 1 pilot and one of a study to see whether we can implicate private and other non-veterinarian personnel in the sample collection and submission. And the first, if you want to see what livestock keepers have demand as services in for FMD, and how can we make it adequate with the services existing in the offered by veterinarian services. Just to say the context of Mali, and Mali is a very huge country between Algeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Senegal, and Mauritania, and they have the second highest number of herd in the region, in the West African region. Pastoral mobility is the main livestock keeping mode, but there is a trend to intensification around the main cities. There is also a very low performance of veterinary services in the private and also in the public sectors. And the insecurity of in the central and northern region have some impact on the study we have undertaken so far. So, first of all, linked to the first, Mali is a very sensitive country, FMD sensitive country. In second, linked to the pastoral mobility, there is a risk of transboundary transmission, dissemination of FMD. And from the third side, the issue of low performance should be very really addressed in terms of surveillance and control with an alternative obligation need for paraveterinarian actors. So we cannot avoid working with paraveterinarians since we have our services are of very low performance and we cannot cover the whole country. And last but not least, we have linked to the insecurity, we faced difficulties for sample collection and submission in some regions since we cannot afford that in due time. Okay, to do these 2 studies, we have just selected 3 areas. And these 3 areas are one in the western part to take in account movement of herd from Mauritania and Senegal. And the second is around the big Bamako city. And then here, we wanted to take in account the intensive mode of production. And then here, in the eastern part, is to take in account movement from Niger and Burkina Faso as well. And we have a methodology to conduct. We represented it in a kind of cycle, just to identify and characterize existing services first, and then to define and validate gap between the offer and the demand, and jointly analyze the feasibility of social, technical, and economic of validated measure to adequate the offer to the demand, and then to jointly define needed changes. And this is a thing that was done for the first time in Mali. proceeding for that. And as a result, we have trained so far 35 persons. And here I would like to thank Nadia here and also Paulo Mota. They were with us in Mali in early May. And we also succeeded to collect 78 LFDs, and they are being submitted just now to answers. An additional framework has been drawn for sample collection and submission, and it has been adopted. And we succeeded to characterize the demand and the service, and we will show you what are main changes to be tackled. An action plan has been drawn to that, and this action plan has visited the institutional framework we have validated so far, and this framework, as you see, is including a laboratory, the Directorate of Veterinary Services, transport companies, public and veterinary services, private one, producers as well, and livestock keepers with also legal authorities. So here you see what has been in red, sample collection, in green, sample submission, and you show how to the information flow within different actors, and so on and so forth. So, but to make this framework work, there is conditionalities, and stakeholders have defined 10 conditionalities, and I have highlighted in red what for me, it's only for me, what for me is our main point to be tackled. The first, the material equipment of sample collection should be available. We have not that at country level. Second, implicated actors should be able to communicate in due time. And producer organizations are operational in implementing their action plan against FMD. Vet, public and private are trained on FMD. What we have learned so far is that even veterinary have good knowledge on FMD, but they do not know how to collect and submit samples as it's required. And the 10th is the role of legal authorities. This is the central administration and elected people as well, to be implicated in that, since we have rules, and these rules should be implemented. And given that we have defined 6 main changes, 2 are linked to rules and regulation, 2 also on technologies, and 2 also on institutional and organizational framework. The first is that an existing arrêté. The main problem in Africa is not a lack of rules, but is insufficient implementation of these rules. I think this should be really taken in mind. The second is that livestock keepers are aware of FMD sanitarian measures. So we have a lot to do in sensitization. Technology, in Mali, availability of suitable vaccine. We have, during these days, talked a lot about vaccine, and suitable vaccine should be a proper issue to us. And what I have learned these days, some people are talking about the potency, etc. But to me, the vaccine should be available. The vaccine should be affordable. Otherwise, it will not work in our countries. And the second aspect, to me, linked to what I have heard yesterday, is that I'm not sure at all that we can solve a problem with what we say in French, prophylaxis médicale. I don't know how to translate it in English. But I think there is also prophylaxis sanitaire. We cannot solve the problem of FMD only with vaccine. There is a lot to do in environment, a lot to do in prophylaxis sanitaire. Vous pouvez m'aider à traduire?
La même chose, à l'envers.
What?
Sanitary prophylaxis.
Sanitary prophylaxis. Okay, I think we have a lot to say about that if you want to overcome these difficulties. And also in institutional organizational level, livestock keepers through the representative organization should be implicated in FMD vaccination price fixation. And you know, we have heard yesterday that it's really cost. And if you are talking in UK about cents of pounds as the price, I think it's more than 1,000 and 1,000 and half francs CFA, and this is a lot for farmers in our country. Is more than £1. So you are talking about cents. We are talking about pound and what is over. Professional acts in Mali. There is this point should be also in the rules, but we put it here. We have a kind of rule mandat sanitaire, which is linked to the private veterinarian. And the acts in this mandat sanitaire should be enlarged in order to make veterinary professional living with their acts as a professional. Otherwise, you cannot talk about a private veterinary sector in Mali. To me, it's just a dream. It's not reality on the field now. So we have drawn an action plan with a time frame from 2019 to 2030. This action plan have 14 activities and 18 indicators. In the next future, we are going to search for funds to implement this action plan. And thank you for your attention.